Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joined today is your Finance Director, Misty Dodge. She is here to talk about the 2023 tax bill. Your property tax bill has been sent to you in the mail as of December 11th-ish is when it hits your mailbox. Regardless, each year we take the time to break down the tax bill. I appreciate your time, Misty. I know a lot going on. As you come out of budget, you come right into this tax bill, which is super important here for people. So we're going to walk through this step by step today. But overall, what would you like to tell people about their tax bill?
Yeah, so tax bills were mailed out on last week Friday. So they hit mailboxes this week Monday, and it's been pretty steady as people are coming in. I expect it to get even busier over the next couple of weeks. We really appreciate you taking the time to help us show people how the tax bill is calculated and how to read it. I think that's a really important thing rather than just needing to pay the amount.
It's very interesting. I've been a homeowner for a while, but every year I still walk away like, oh yeah, duh. Like, it's a good refresher, and yeah, I think it's always good to go through it, so we appreciate you for doing this. You have nicely set up some numbers here to go through this tax bill, so we're going to start with the box number one, and it's called bill number. What is the bill number?
So first of all, the bill number does change each year, so that's an important thing to know, but that bill number is a way for the taxpayer to let us know what property to assign that payment to. So you could use a variety of different things when you're letting us know that, but the bill number is the shortest number, so that's the one that tends to be the easiest for people, but it does change every year. So when you're making a payment, like in the mail, if you could bring the stub that's on the bottom of the tax bill, that's really helpful. But if for whatever reason you don't have it, if you could write in the memo line of the check what the bill number is, that will just help our team make sure that it goes to the right parcel. So we want to make sure it's done correctly.
It's double checking. I like it.
Absolutely.
And you like that too. Box number two, we jump into the assessed valued land. So you've got a calculation here to get your total assessed value. What does that total assessed value mean?
Yeah, so I took a sample bill, which happens to be the same value as our average home here in Fitchburg. So this home is valued at $381,900. That's the box number two. The assessed value is the value that's placed on the property by the city assessor and his team, but we do go property by property to make sure that all the data that feeds into the system to spit out that value is accurate. And so this is a very specific number calculated with a lot of math and detail and data behind it, and is done through the city assessor. And
specifically, that is for City of Fitchburg. So other people around the county are like, hey, guess what? Mine was cheaper, or mine was more. It is by your municipality or by where you're at, right?
Yep, and it does vary. So we'll get into box number 3 and 4 next. So here at the City of Fitchburg this year, we did what's called a maintenance assessment year, which means for the most part, most of our property owners had the same value last year as what they do this year. We didn't adjust the values based on market. We only adjusted them based on things that happen. So if it's new construction or you added on or something like that happened with your property, assessing would have still changed it because the underlying data changed. But for the most part, most of our properties have that same assessed value this year as last year. Since we did a maintenance year, as I'm sure you're aware, the market is still going very high, and actual sales, when you compare them to these assessed values, are coming in high.
It feels like it's been like that for a long time, but makes it interesting.
Yeah, and so that's why our assessment ratio, which is in box 3, is less than 100. So when we true up our values to the market, we are usually right around 100%, but because we didn't do that this year, we dropped to 86% this year.
All right, and that's how we get into box number 4, your estimated fair market land value, and it goes to the total, but I'm reading left to right here, so tell us about that box.
Yeah, so the State Department of Revenue also does a process by which they look at property values, but they look at the city as a whole. They don't look at property by property like we do here. They look at it as a whole and compare in total what's been the relationship between sales versus assessed values. And so they have that number in total. That is how we calculate that ratio. And then to get to the estimated fair market value for this home, we take what our assessed value is, which has not been adjusted for market, apply the ratio to it in order to get what we believe that fair market value would be for this property if we use the same methodology as the state.
My goodness, lots of calculations there, but super important, and that leads us to box number 5, net assessed value rate.
So this property in particular is an Oregon School District property. So we do have 3 different school districts in the city, and you will have one of those 3 on your property tax bill. So Oregon, Verona, or Madison. This one is an Oregon School District, and the net assessed value rate will be different depending on that school as well. So in the Oregon School District this year, the net assessed value rate was $19.61 per thousand. And so what you would do to calculate your tax amount, you would take your assessed value, so the $381,900, divide it by 1,000, and multiply it by $19.61. And that's how you get, in that lighter purple box, the $7,490.02. That's how that amount is calculated.
My goodness. But it helps. I mean, you're trying to really break it down on how your pieces, how it all kind of fits into the puzzle there. Now you know how that is done. Then moving after you have that total of the $7,490.02, as you move over to box number 6, tell us on that change, that tax percentage change.
So we send out the bills on behalf of the city of Fitchburg, and Fitchburg collects it through January 31st. But we actually collect money for all of those jurisdictions. And so I like this part of the bill because it shows you by jurisdiction how much you paid last year, how much you paid this year, and what that change would be. So on this example, for Dane County, that portion went up 17%. The city of Fitchburg portion went up 0.1%. Oregon School District went up almost 17%, and the Madison Tech College went up 6%. So again, even though Fitchburg is collecting it, most of that money is actually for those other jurisdictions.
All right. And again, as Misty had said before, depending where you live, it's going to be. Again, it could be the Madison School District, could be your Verona School District, or in this case, we're looking at the Oregon School District. So pay close attention to that as you do it. Moving on then to box number 7 and 8. 7, your first dollar credit.
So this is a credit that the state pays a portion of that tax bill on behalf of the property owner. The first dollar credit is automatic. Anybody that has improvements on their parcel, it's not just land, will automatically get this credit. So there's nothing that they need to do, it just shows up. And you can see it's a little less than $100, which is helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. This time of year, darn right it is. And box number 8 is the lottery and gaming credit.
So this is the one we really want to bring people's attention to because it is not automatic. So this credit only applies if the property was your primary residence as of the 1st of 2023. So we really would like people that are homeowners to go to their bill, check and see if there's a dollar amount in there. If it's blank, it means you are not receiving the lottery credit. And if that's true and you know you are eligible, there is a really, really simple form that needs to get filled out in order for us to apply that over $300 credit to your property tax bill. So you really want to try to get the word out, especially with new houses that are going up. It is not an automatic credit. You need to make sure that it's on there.
And it's a very simple form to fill out. I checked it out yesterday, and yeah, it's easy. And if you even look at the percentage change on that, it's up 13. So yeah, you want to collect on that if you can. So definitely, and we'll talk about this, but all this information is online at our website at fitchburgwi.gov. We'll circle back to that in just a moment. Moving on then to the box that I call box 9, but more importantly, you're looking for other charges here. Tell us about these.
So that top text of the bill was all of the taxes amount. This section here is for all of the special assessments, special charges, and delinquent utilities. So the one that most of our residents have would be the trash pickup. So it did increase this year from $228 to $232, mostly just passing on the cost that we pay to Pelletieri to provide that service. But that is included in this section. There also could be delinquent utilities. If you had a sidewalk special assessment you're making payments on, that would be here. This private septic maintenance charge is on several of the bills. So that would be kind of those other charges. They're not taxes, but it's other charges that are collected through the tax bill process.
All right. Well, now that we've got the total up, let's talk about the important part of paying these. And when you look at installments, you might be like, wait, what are installments? But let's start with box number 10, the full payment due before January 31st, 2024.
Yeah, so if we take then that total tax amount, subtract the credits, and add up these other charges, we get to the amount that is due in full. For personal property, that's due in full by the end of January, no matter what. But if it's real property, which is the bulk of our bills, you are allowed to do the installments. You want to make sure, though, that you at least hit that first installment amount by that due date, or else interest and penalty will accrue all the way back to that original due date. So at least make sure you hit that throughout the collection time. But If you pay before January 31st, then payments come here to the city of Fitchburg. If you pay after January 31st, it would go to the Dane County instead.
Yeah, and that is definitely pointed out there between box 10 and 11. So make sure that you see the Dane County Treasurer there for making that payment if you're past the 31st. We'll remind you, of course, as it gets closer for that time, but certainly want to note that. Moving on then to box number 12, Misty, taxing jurisdiction. This is a good reference piece.
Yeah, this is just an information section on the bill. What this shows you is if there was a non-recurring referendum approved that impacts this tax bill. This year, all 3 of our school districts do have a non-recurring referendum that's applied, so all of them will have this. And I like this section because it shows you not just how much of your particular bill is going towards this referendum, but it also shows when that's going to fall off and it's going to end. But it is important to note these are only the non-recurring ones. So think of it like the building referendums. If there was a referendum approved that's ongoing, like for staffing, that would not show up here because it continues. It's only the ones that are going to fall off at some point that will be shown in this section.
And in this one, it's showing that it ends in 2038 for that. So that's what you would see unless otherwise changed, which will be noted on future tax bills. All right, and then finally, box number 13, check for your billing address change. It's a good one, but pay attention here.
Yeah, so if there is a billing address that a property owner wants to change, you can let us know in a variety of ways, but one way is to check this box and just handwrite on there what you want your billing address to be instead. But I'd like to be clear, it's just the billing address, not the property address. The property address can only be changed at the county through the Register of Deeds, but if you just want to change where your bill gets mailed to when we send them out every December, that we can change in our system, just let us know.
All right, well, this is a lot of information. Some folks may be like, oh my gosh, you just went through this like it was a lot. Guess what? There was a handout that was included in your tax bill. We actually will go through that in another segment, but you and your staff are here to help answer any questions. How can people find out more information if they'd like or ask you a question?
Yeah, so the best place to go first if you're looking for questions or information would be our website. So under the finance department, there's a separate page for tax collection information. We've got a lot of stuff out there, including frequently asked questions, the link to the insert you were talking about, the link to the lottery credit form. There's a lot of detail out there that people are able to access. If there's still questions or if you just want to talk to somebody, you can give us a call, you can stop in, you can email us. We're always happy to answer whatever questions taxpayers have.
All right, Misty, thank you so much for taking the time. Appreciate it as always. And again, you can check out the website, fitchburgwi.gov. Under the finance department, you'll see our tax and our property taxes and the lottery credit tab there for you. Nice seeing you. We'll see you next year.
Thank you so much.